Of the Town Council to order. It is 6:17. Can I have roll call, please?
Councilor Allegro. Here. Mayor Sakala.
Here.
Councilor Crisati.
Here.
Councilor Hall. Here. Councilor Mangini.
Here.
Councilor Matthews.
Here.
Councilor Pisner. Here. Deputy Mayor Santinella.
Here.
Councilor Thomas is absent. Councilor Ungary.
Here.
Councilor Zanoni.
Here.
10 members are present, 1 is absent.
My light isn't going on for some reason. I don't know what's wrong with my mic. I don't know if I'm not plugged in.
Check to see if the mic is working. Maybe the light is
Oh, I don't know.
out.
Maybe the light just isn't?
Yeah.
So Councilor Thomas said his Teams is updating.
Hello?
Yes, it's working.
Okay, so the light's
It's
not
the
working.
light's not
Okay,
working.
just
It's
making
on
sure.
still.
Good? All right, we're going to start with the Town Manager's Budget Presentation for fiscal year 2027. Good evening.
Oh, good evening. It surprised me. I wasn't prepared for this. So, always start off budgets with a goal in mind. And in this particular foray into budgeting in Enfield for me, I came up with 4 different, apparently something's not working here. So, you
The
know,
light doesn't go
an
on.
interesting story I want to tell. Happened a few years ago.
Just the light.
I was walking along a beach. It was beautiful. Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know. I ask that question all the time. So I catching back up here, always start out with some guiding principles of what I'm going to be doing as we go through a budget process. This year, I wanted to focus on 4 different things. First, I wanted to focus on maintaining reliable, high-quality services that residents depend on every day. Secondly, I wanted to make strategic investments where service demands continue to grow. Third, I wanted to emphasize maintaining and protecting the town's infrastructure and equipment, vehicles, and such, because deferred maintenance ultimately costs more. You may hear that a few times. And finally, wanted to balance today's needs with long-term affordability, recognizing the importance of financial stability for residents and the community as a whole. You know, in the end, the balance that we have to strike, right, is how to get a lot of stuff done that the residents want and need versus keeping it affordable for people to want to live and remain here. So that is always a hard thing to do. It's even harder in Connecticut because things cost a lot of money here. And unfortunately, those 2 things always rub up against each other and result in decisions being made that you know, we live with going forward, sometimes good, sometimes bad. But before we get into the good and the bad, let's talk a little bit about the process. So this journey started back in November when the departments began working on their operational and CIP requests. Those ultimately were given to me. So starting in January through March, the end of March, I've been preparing a proposed budget that ultimately led to today, April 7th, and this presentation that I'm doing now. Kind of going forward a little bit more, there's going to be a community conversation on the budget on April 9th, and that's going to be at Hazardville Memorial. So I think we have gotten some of the message out. We'll keep doing it over the next couple days so people will, you know, hopefully be able to attend and give council their perspective on what the needs of the town are and what we should be focusing on going forward. Probably not going to have a lot of information, you know, even though we'll get all this out on the website tomorrow. There's probably not going to be a lot of time for people to review and have a lot of questions. So it really is, I think, hearing from the public what they want to see in the upcoming budget. Then next week, actually on the 13th, is the first budget presentation by the departments, and they'll be giving to council kind of the overview of the budget that ultimately I'm proposing tonight and how it impacts their service levels and abilities to do the things that we expect them to do. The second meeting on presentations will be on the 15th, which will be on the Wednesday. Both will begin at 6 p.m. And hopefully, again, people will be able to tune in and hear what the department directors that will be presenting have to say. We did schedule a third on the Thursday. If it's needed, we'll have it. If you don't think it's needed, then we won't have that meeting. Tonight, in the regular meeting, you're going to be voting on the public hearing. That's tentatively, and if you adopt it tonight, will be scheduled for April 22nd. After that, you begin your work. Council will have until May 18th to adopt a final budget that then goes into place July 1st, 2026. And I'm taking a long vacation after that. So, starting off, I am proposing a total general fund budget of $168,219,342. It's split between the town side and the Enfield Public Schools side. You did have a presentation on March 30th of the school's budget. Tonight, we'll be talking primarily about the left side of that, which is the town budget, and $84,641,230. Wanted to give a little context and maybe just a smidge of history here. You can see that in fiscal year 26, so the current fiscal year last year, Council adopted a budget of $157,709,457. So you can see that this is a considerable increase from what was adopted. However, over the course of this year, there has been some revisions to that, and you can see that it's gone up almost $3 million, a little more than 2.5 there. And so based upon the revised, you can see that the town budget is about 4.92%. The school's budget is a 4.9 request increase, and overall, this represents a 4.95% budget increase over the current revised fiscal year 26 budget. Everyone still with me? Okay, good. I always like to give some context and think maybe a little bit differently during these presentations. And one of the things is I was preparing, the presentation, I started thinking about going back a little bit in time. So going back 10 years and looking at the budget then. And the general fund budget that was adopted in 2017, $129 million. Again, that comparison, $129 million 10 years ago versus what I'm proposing, $168 million, seems like a big difference. Big difference. And I wanted to put it in context of if you went back in 2017 and rolled forward those 10 years to where we're at today, this represents less than a 30% increase over 10 years. Again, again, these numbers blow my mind sometimes. So I respect that this is not something to toy with. But when you start thinking that that's over a 10-year period, about a 3% per year increase, right? And if you actually did what was the going CPI for those 10 years, the budget in 2017 of $129 million would have to be $176 million today. So it kind of demonstrates a couple things, right? The cost of doing business has increased nearly 33% in 10 years. Secondly, when you look at where our budget was in the current year versus this, we're not anywhere close to what that 3% every year for 10 years is. And there was a lot of things that I think were done to manage that. But again, I think some of those things kind of put us behind to where we are today, which is deferring some sizable things that need to be done. That I'm just going to tell you right now, the budget that I put together does not deliver on those big things that we've put off, right? So we're not even considering some of those things that need to be done. And again, I'll talk a little bit about them as we go on. What we do with this is start catching up and start getting us into position to start tackling those things that need to be done. And those things that need to be done are going to be done over the next 5 to 10 years, because there's just no way that you're going to do it in 1 year. And so this is not something that you're going to be able, as a community, we are not going to be able to walk away and say we're done. We're going to continually be working on this for the next 5 to 10 years. I hope that doesn't, make you all question your desires to be council members. But another thing I wanted to talk about is the impact of the debt on the proposed budget. And again, I wanted to turn back the hands of time and look back in that 2017 timeframe. In 2017, and there's nothing really magical about 2017 other than it was 10 years ago, right? But our debt retirement costs in 2017 were just a little bit over $6 million at the time. In fiscal year 26, that number went up to a little bit more than $11 million. And in the proposed budget, that debt retirement's, again, as you can see on the slide, $11,146,530. And just again, for perspective, next year, nothing changing in terms of new debt or going into new debt. That debt retirement goes up to $12.3 million. Now, that difference in fiscal year 2017 to fiscal year 2027's budget, is approximately $5 million. And in context of the mill rate, or what 1 mil equals in the proposed budget, that's about a 1.5 mil increase in what our costs are that was spent on debt and not spent on other things that the town can be doing. Let me just say, we don't have a debt problem, right? Because we're compared to other towns our size, maybe a little bit larger, we don't have a lot of debt, right? But the debt we have is causing an impact on our ability to provide our level of services that I think people need and people want. And again, that is one of the problems that we face over the next 5 years, 10 years, that we're going to have to confront and figure out, because if we don't do it, this is, again, just going to keep choking what is available to keep the maintenance of our buildings, keep the vehicles that we need in good repair, and new vehicles, and all down the line. We have to figure this out. And again, where this budget doesn't solve any problems, I think it should start it should start something with us to start looking at how we are going to solve this. And that's what I hope comes, one of the things that come out of this. And again, I kind of talked about it on the fourth goal, is finding sustainability in our financial situation. If we don't start doing that, this is going to be a critical issue in the next 3 to 5 years. And again, it's not even addressing the things that I think all of you and the community are wanting us to do. And we can't let, again, the position we're in now stop us from doing the things that we need to do, because those things, are important. And that is one of those things that we have to get figured out And I pledge that we will get it figured out one way or another over the next couple of years so we can have a plan that, again, will allow us to grow the operations that we need to grow to provide the services that are being demanded of the residents. General revenue, general fund revenues for the upcoming year, of course, we always have to have a balanced budget. We are proposing $168,218,342 in revenues. The big increases here, without showing you the comparisons, property taxes, other taxes, because again, we're going up with a larger mill rate over what the current mill rate is, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But after that, our numbers are pretty much stagnant. What we're receiving from the government, the state government, isn't really changing that much. Now, there's a lot of talk. Maybe something will happen. Probably not. But hopefully, if something is going to happen, those of you that have the ability to make something happen, you'll have time, I think, before you have to finalize this budget that can then, maybe change the trajectory of those top three lines of how we fund this budget. The last piece of all this, as you go down, again, not a lot of significant changes here, transfers and fund balance. We are proposing a $5 million fund balance usage in this year's, for fiscal year 2027. And again, I'll talk a little bit about that in future slides. So I wanted to get into some of the budget cost drivers, just so you can kind of understand what is leading us down this path. As you are all aware, there's contractually negotiated wage increases that we've agreed to over the last couple of years that, again, where those have kind of landed as 3%. Some contracts are 3% plus step increases. And so when you get to the department presentations next week, you're going to see a number of budgets where the only thing has changed, well, one of the biggest things that have changed, I should say, is in the salaries and wages, right? Because, again, based upon the way that we budget these, based upon when the contracts happen, you may not have seen, and I'm thinking the police department specifically in this, they've had, 2 years worth of wages put into their budget this year that weren't really reflected in previous years. It was covered in other parts of the budget because, we have a transfer of money from the collective bargaining fund that we have, but it was never accounted for in the police budget. So when you get there, you're going to see a large increase in wages there, and everything else is pretty much status quo. And that's how it really is across the board, except for some of the areas I'm going to talk about here in a few seconds. The second thing that's really driving some increases is our projected increase in health insurance costs. Now, this actually started out a lot higher when we started the budget process. It's not going to go any lower than this, but we were able to go from 12% down to 7%. That percentage, based upon where the trend is going right now in the current year, will get us to our fund commitments, our fund balance commitments in the insurance fund. As long as both the schools and the town at the end of the year transfer the money that's left over in insurance into that fund, we'll be fine. 7% gets us to where we need to be. I think based upon our last joint insurance meeting with the schools, there's a understanding of what we need to do over the next few years to make sure that that fund balance stays strong and we can provide the level of services in health to our employees for the foreseeable future. And as part of the budget, as you probably all know, and maybe some of you don't know, when we have open positions during the budget process, we always put in the highest employee rate possible. That way, if we end up hiring an employee that's a family plan, we don't cut the budget short. And so, that kind of conservative budgeting does make these costs a little bit higher than what they'll probably end up being. But again, it's better to be conservative and not get caught unaware in that. And then the last increase here is in the retiree medical expenses and required pension contributions. Not a large increase for the police pension, but the town employee pension does go up a couple $100,000 this year, which kind of drives those costs. And the retiree medical expenses have also gone up about $100-some thousand over the current year. Of course, another budget cost driver is what was presented on March 30th from the Enfield Public Schools. They're asking for a $3.9 million increase to their budget. They've, again, already presented to you what is causing that. Now, this next budget driver is something as I was going through the budget process and talking with the departments, there were considerable requests for new positions within the budget. In the end, I had to pare it down to what I think are going to deliver the biggest gain for the town of Enfield, and our operations and the people that we provide services to. Kind of jumping around with this, council has already increased the number of custodians in the current year. We added 3 a month or so ago. I'm looking to add 2 more to get us up to effectively 7 in the Enfield High School. When you look at where our costs are, we're still driving a lot of overtime, and this year overtime is a considerable number that we're going to have to deal with. I think the cost alone is not the big issue that I see. I mean, we're driving a lot of people that's filling that overtime to spend a lot of hours working on our behalf that probably is not the best for them. And I think, again, looking at 2 more positions gets us to where we need to be. We should be able to balance off our operations and getting done the work at the high school that need to be done there. Another big item in the budget request is the creation of a trade unit within buildings and grounds. So going back to when I was here last, for those of you that were here, we actually had in the budget a trades unit. Didn't call it that, but we had an electrician. We were actually, when I was leaving, hiring a second electrician. We had a plumber, and we had an HVAC position. Those positions have been taken out or haven't been filled, and so today we have 1 electrician. And because of some issues, here for the next 3 months, we're not going to have any electricians. And so to get that work done that we're constantly doing, we're going to be going out and getting on-call contractors to do most of the work that needs to be done over the next 3 to 4 months, unfortunately. Now, that's a bad thing, but it's only a portion of what the story tells. I mean, the other thing here is there's a lot of work that's not getting done. And it came down to, again, shrinking what was available to the buildings and grounds to be able to get the work done, and it never got done. And so we're staring at things, for instance, like in the high school, the new high school, where it's been, probably a couple years past due to change out all the lights in the high school. And that could be a very costly project. You would see in the capital request, I think it's $100,000 to do that. With 2 positions, 2 electricians positions, we'd be able to tackle that ourselves. And that would be a savings to the town. That's not to mention that, we have to replace every water heater in all of the school buildings. Again, these positions that we're creating would allow us to do it rather than have to farm that out to plumbers to do that. And so in creating these positions, it gives us the ability to do things in-house, should be less expensive, and that's what the goal is again, a little bit of an increase now in future budgets, but it's going to allow us to do things that hopefully will reduce that cost curve of waiting to the last minute or waiting till something fails and then spending the most money because it's an emergent situation. And that's what the promise of those three trade positions in B&G will do. Real quick, because I see time is fleeting by me here. Also proposing to hire an additional zoning enforcement officer. In looking at our land use / building department processes, we're falling behind because of the amount of work that's coming in, and that's only going to increase over time, especially with all these different projects that are now in the process of taking off for us. If we don't, expand our abilities in that department in this upcoming fiscal year, we're just going to be falling behind and not be able to get the projects out the door. And so it's almost imperative that we get this position filled. We're also looking to hire an assistant collector of revenue. This request actually came in as a part-time position, but as I started looking at the possibilities and some of the issues that we're not doing on the revenue collection side, having a full-time position made a lot more sense to us. And I truly believe when I say this, this position will help pay for itself because we fall behind not only in the regular collections that happen, but also in the things that I'll talk about a little bit later for sewer collections, right? There's a lot of work that needs to be done. You may ask, well, why are we hiring an assistant collector of revenue? Well, this is because in the next 3 to 5 years, we're going to probably be replacing our revenue collector in this town. And my goal would be to have that position already on staff when she decides to, probably go work for 5 or 6 other towns at the same time, because that's what she does. I don't think she'll ever retire, actually, but, she may step away from just being here in Enfield. So that kind of gets us into a position to protect the future, but also in the interim years to expand our ability so we can keep getting the revenues that we should be getting, and making sure people are paying what their fair share is, so others don't have to pay that. And lastly, there was a request through the senior center to take, again, a part-time position and bring it up into a full-time position to expand the services that we provide in the senior center. And we believe this will actually expand those services and provide more service to our residents that participate there. Few other areas that are driving a lot of cost. We did increase our abilities through supplies and materials for buildings and grounds, highway, fleet operations, where maintenance activity and service demands have increased. The top graph there kind of shows a 3-year perspective. And again, I go back to 2017 just to do a comparison for where those numbers were back then. And you can see the last column on that top one is fiscal year 27 proposal, and you can see that we have increased every one of those to meet what the departments are saying they need to be able to do to provide the level of services. In the bottom one, I'm highlighting the refuse disposal, electricity, and natural gas, because again, each one of those are representing an increase in this year. I do want to point out the first one, which is the refuse disposal. Again, an increase is projected in the tipping fees, but going back 10 years, you can see that we're just a little bit over $1 million in tipping fees, and that is more than doubled over the last 10 years, which again kind of explains some of the costs, right? We've reduced operational costs because we have a number of these different things over the last 10 years that increased, and the money's gone there rather into the operations of the town. And then the last big budget driver is, of course, the capital improvements. The blue chart or line is, column, excuse me, is what has been adopted for the last 2 years plus what is being proposed for fiscal year 27. The orange is what actually was spent. So you can see in 2025, it was like 2.2, I think, 2.3 million was budgeted, but we ended up spending well over $5 million. In the current year, it was 1.7 million is what was budgeted, but we're up around $3 million now. And so those are all added cost into the capital fund. This year, I'm just proposing that we skip the revision piece and we go right to the fund balance. And of that $5 million, $3 million of it is earmarked for the capital side. So some of the different projects that are going to be funded in this year's proposed budget, in these, those that have an asterisk are those projects that we have to do. So the DPW fuel station replacement, you've already budgeted 1/2 of it, and we're moving forward with the ordering of the things that are necessary to ultimately pay through with the second piece, which is the $818,000. This all has to be done by October. And at the current rate, we should be able to get that completed by that date. Another big number down there, the vehicle replacement. This is actually in 2 different places. You'll see that there's $2 million, $2 million in the actual vehicle replacement in CIP is what we're proposing, but we're also putting $500,000, so 2.5, is going into leases. And with that $500,000, you'll see that we're planning on purchasing somewhere north of $2.3, $2.4 million worth of large vehicles for the town. And again, that expenditure gets us caught up to where we're supposed to be, mostly caught up to where we're supposed to be in our capital vehicle replacement plan. Again, still a lot of work to do to get fully caught up, but this is a really good effort at this point in time to get to where we need to be. So I know a question would always be asked, so I just wanted to go over this really quick. You can see that at the end of fiscal year 26, at this point, unless something changes, we're going to have available fund balance of about $12 million. We're proposing to use $5 million of that as part of this year's budget to balance it. So if everything goes the way it could go, our undesignated fund balance that's available for expenditure could be as low as $7 million. Generally, we spend about 98% of the budget. That would equate to somewhere around 1.2 to $2 million-ish, which most likely will not be spent. So there's a better than average chance that, in the end, we'll only have to use about $3 million of this. And again, if we are conservative in some of our different revenues, which we generally are, that's going to reduce that usage of fund balance as well. And you can see that for fiscal year 26, that number was 5.5, almost 5.6 million. So what does all this mean for the general fund? So the fiscal year 27 mill rate for real property and personal property would end up being 34.28 mil, which is a mill increase of 2.78. Kind of see what the history of the mill rates have been there over the last few years. And based on a home in Enfield worth $300,000, That mill rate would mean a resident's going to pay $7,199 in taxes, which is about a $584 increase over the current year. I'm just going to spend a few minutes here on other funds. Again, we have water pollution control, social services, library funds, information technology, emergency medical services. All these will be presented to you next week to discuss. I did want to take a little bit closer look at that top one because you can see that there is a significant decrease, 17%, in water pollution control. And this is because of this line. And now the overall revenues are just a little bit higher than charges for services. There's like 3 or 4 different lines that go into the revenues. But I wanted to key you on this. So in 2024, our actual charges for service, so the sewer fee, was 6.9, almost $7 million. In 2025, that dropped to 6.2, almost 6.3. This year's budgeted number was 9.1 million. That's going to end up probably somewhere around 7.7 million. The proposed 2027 takes the numbers that are probably pretty decent on the estimates and right sizes that budget to reflect what those revenues are going to be, which again is 7.7. And we'll have probably a lengthy talk on this one. The bad part of all this is you can see charges versus expenditures. And that shows that over the last couple of years, we've been eating into our fund balance in the water pollution control. And we're not going to solve that in 1 year. It's going to take a few years to get us to where we need to be with this. And so we're going to be working to get that done. Again, a lot of conversation on that. What this budget delivers, it ensures essential services continue without disruption, strengthens operations by investing in staff, systems, and process to improve efficiency and reliability, funds key upgrades and repairs to public facility, roads, utilities, and our vehicles, and starts the process of creating a sustainable financial footing for the town going forward. There is a lot of work to do, and there will be a lot of work done, not just in this year's budget deliberations that you're going to be doing. And as I've now eaten up all the time, thank you, and look forward to the dialogue that will start next week.
Thank you, Matt. So we have a public hearing starting about 30 seconds ago. So just to recap, all of this information will be on the website starting tomorrow. So we encourage people to go on, and if they missed the presentation just now, it will also be on YouTube, ETV, so readily available, and make sure we get all of that information out. And community conversation is this Thursday at 6 p.m. So with that, I'm assuming we need a little time to digest this. We will start our budget process and deliberations and presentations very quickly. And why don't we roll? I need actually a motion to adjourn the special meeting, please.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right, all in favor? 10 in favor, none against. Has Aaron logged on yet? Yes. He has? All right, thank you. All right, so special meeting is adjourned. And as long as I have the go-ahead, I'm going to roll right into the regular agenda. Do I do the public hearing first? Yeah, okay.
Yes, the
So we'll
public
do the
hearing
public
first.
hearing. This is the Midtown Enfield Tax Increment Financing Master Plan. So, public hearing, rules, the ground rules. Actually, can I get roll call, please?
Counselor Allegro. Here. Mayor Sakala.
Here.
Counselor Crisati.
Here.
Counselor Hall.
Here.
Counselor Mangini.
Here.
Counselor Matthews.
Here.
Counselor Pisner.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Santinella.
Here.
Counselor Thomas,
Here.
Counselor Ungary.
Here.
And Counselor Zanoni.
Here.
11 members are present, none are absent.
Thank you. The following notice of public hearing was published in the Journal Enquirer on Wednesday, March 25th, 2026. Town of Enfield legal notice. Notice is hereby given that the Town of Enfield shall hold a public hearing in the Enfield Town Hall Council Chambers, 820 Enfield Street, Enfield, Connecticut, on Tuesday, April 7th, 2026, at 6:55 to allow interested citizens an opportunity to express their opinion regarding the proposed revisions to the Midtown Enfield Tax Increment Financing Master Plan, dated this 24th of March, 2026. The ground rules for the public hearing is there is no time limit, but I do ask that each person not take up too much time so that everyone has an opportunity to speak. After after each person who desires has had the opportunity to speak once, I shall permit those individuals who desire to speak a second chance. After those individuals who desire to speak a second time, I shall permit those individuals who desire to a third, a fourth, et cetera, et cetera. And please refrain from personalities. So, is there anyone in the audience who is here for the public hearing on the Enfield, Midtown Enfield Tax Increment Financing Master Plan? Anyone here for that? Going once? Going twice? All right, well, I declare the public hearing closed then. We will roll right into the regular meeting of the Town Council for April 7th, 2026.
You have to wait 2 minutes.
2 minutes.
Oh, crap, you're right. No, we have 2 minutes. All right, then we'll hold on for a second. It is 7 o'clock, so I will call the Town Council regular meeting of April 7th, 2026 in the Town Hall Council Chambers to order. First by a prayer from Councilor Ungary, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
Heavenly Father, we come before you this evening with humble hearts and a deep sense of responsibility for the work set before us. We seek your guidance as we serve our community. We lift up a grieving family who has suffered the loss of a young child, surround them with comfort, peace, and strength, and help our town to come together in compassion and care during this sorrowful time. Lord, as we consider our schools, our budget, and the financial future of our town, grant us wisdom and discernment. Help us make decisions that are fair, thoughtful, and in the best interest of every resident. Guide us as we discuss funding for our schools, that we may support every child's education while honoring the trust of taxpayers. Help us to balance compassion with fiscal responsibilities and to be good stewards of the resources entrusted to us. Give us clarity of thought and unity of purpose as we consider taxes, mill rates, and the needs of all families, seniors, and neighbors. Help us to listen carefully, speak respectfully, and work together with integrity and cooperation. Bless our decisions in the weeks ahead so they bring stability, fairness, and hope to our community. In Jesus' name we pray, amen. Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Counselor Ungary. Can I get roll call, please?
Counselor Ungary.
Here.
Counselor Zanoni, sorry.
Here.
Counselor Allegro.
Here.
Mayor Sakala.
Here.
Counselor Crisati.
Here.
Counselor Hall.
Here.
Counselor Mangini.
Here.
Counselor Matthews.
Here.
Counselor Pisner.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Santinella.
Here.
And Counselor Thomas.
Here.
11 members are present, none are absent.
Item 5 is the fire evacuation announcement. In the event of a fire and emergency, there are 2 means of exits in the council chamber, one at the rear and the other one to my left and the audience right. So you can either exit out the rear door and walk a safe distance away from the building, or exit through the side doors to my left, the audience right, and go down 1 flight of stairs out the door and walk a safe distance from the building. Item 6 is meeting minutes from the preceding meetings. First is the regular meeting of March 2nd, 2026, that was tabled at our last meeting. If I could get a motion to approve. Motion was first made and seconded. Is there any additions, deletions, or corrections? Sensing none, all in favor? Any abstentions? Any against? 1 abstention? Okay, so that is 10 in favor, 1 abstention, none against. Special meeting of March 16, 2026.
So moved.
Motion made and seconded. Any questions, concerns, additions, or deletions? Sensing none, all in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Any against? Any abstentions? 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, 7 in favor, none against, 4 abstentions. And lastly, the regular meeting minutes of March 16th, 2026.
So moved. Second.
Motion made and first and seconded. Any questions, comments, deletions, or additions? All right, all in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Any against? Any abstentions? Cindy, are you abstaining?
Cindy.
Are you abstaining? Yeah, okay. So it's 7 in favor, none against, 4 abstentions. All right, item 7 is special guests. We have 2 tonight. The first is Pam Townsend, and then we will do Mr. Earl Provancher. So Pam, why don't you come on up? You don't want the video then?
Pam, you're a busy person, so there's a lot of whereases, so this could take a little while. Tonight, I'd like to present a proclamation recognizing Pamela A. Townsend of the U.S. Army. Whereas Pam A. Townsend honorably served in the United States Army, retiring in 2005 as a Commander Sergeant Major in the U.S. Army Active Guard Reserve, with her final assignment at Devon's Reserve Forces Training Area in Massachusetts, and whereas Pam has been married for 35 years to Lucien Lefebvre, with whom she shares a loving, blended family, and whereas Pam is a dedicated, and there he is right there, and whereas Pam is a dedicated member of American Legion Post 154, where she visits veterans at Parkway Pavilion Rehabilitation, and whereas Pam volunteers at the State Veterans Home, assisting with recreational activities such as bingo for residents, and whereas Pam has served as president of the American Legion Auxiliary Unit 154 since 2016, and in 2018 initiated Unit 154's participation in Wreaths Across America, and whereas Pam assists annually with the Four Chaplains Mass and is a 2020 recipient of the Chapel of the Four Chaplains Legion of Honor Award, recognizing her exemplary patriotism and service. These awards are long. Whereas Pam is the Public Relations Officer for the Enfield Veterans Council, where she manages social media, news articles, and event promotions, and serves as the council's subcommittee for the 250th anniversary of the United States of America. And whereas Pam was named Enfield's 2023 Patriot of the Year and continues to serve the community as a member of the Enfield Patriot Award Committee, having previously served as both secretary and chairperson. And whereas Pam was inducted into the Connecticut Veterans Hall of Fame on January 22nd, 2026. Now, therefore, be it resolved, I, Gina Sakala, Mayor of the town of Enfield, on behalf of the town council, the town administration, and the entire community, do hereby recognize and honor Pamela Pam A. Townsend for her extraordinary military service, tireless advocacy for veterans, and unwavering dedication to the town of Enfield and beyond, and expresses its deepest gratitude for her continued leadership, patriotism, and selfless service. Congratulations, Pam.
Well, I just make it, is it on? Yep. Okay. Just want to make it real simple. I thank everybody for my proclamation, the town and everything. I can't do what I do without the support of so many people. And you think this was long? My list of supporters and volunteers would be much longer than this. So I really appreciate everybody's help. And of course, my husband's my sidekick. You know, when you see him, you see me, or vice versa. So, but thank you, everybody. I really appreciate everything. Thank you. So when I looked at the agenda tonight, I was really pleased to be able to share on tonight's agenda with the next person who's going to come up. I feel very honored. So I'm not going to mention his name. I'm sure John will. So
Actually, Jean is going to
Oh, Jean is going to do it. But I'm really honored to have be on the same time frame with the next person. So thanks.
Thank you. Thanks.
All right, our next special guest is Earl Provancher. Earl, I would ask if you have anyone you want to bring up, but there are a lot of people here for you, so maybe just maybe just you. But you are welcome to invite anyone up that you would like.
Where would you like to stand?
Right in the middle, center of attention. So like Pam, there is a lot of words on a piece of paper, so I need my glasses to read the little writing. So this is a proclamation honoring Chief Earl Provancher for 50 years of service. Whereas Chief Earl Provancher began his distinguished journey in the North Thompsonville Fire Department on February 15th, 1976, as a junior firefighter, marking the start of a lifelong commitment to the safety and well-being of our community. And whereas, upon reaching the age of 18, he was appointed as a firefighter on April 18th, 1977, setting a standard of professionalism and dedication that has defined his career for 5 decades. And whereas on August 2, 1982, Chief Provancher made history by becoming the district's very first career firefighter, further cementing his legacy as a pioneer within the department. And whereas throughout his steadfast ascent through the ranks, he served as an engineer from 1977 to 1982, a lieutenant from 1982 to 1988, and a deputy chief beginning June 14th, 1988. And whereas Chief Provancher has provided exceptional leadership as the fire marshal since March 3rd, 1988, and was appointed chief of the department in July 1st, 1990, a position that he has held with an unwavering integrity and commitment for over 35 years. And whereas his expertise is backed by a deep commitment to professional development, including his status as a certified emergency medical technician since 1978, his Fire Officer 3 state certification, and his completion of a prestigious executive fire officer program at the National Fire Academy. And whereas Chief Provencher's 50 years of service stands as a profound testament to his character, his courage, and his tireless devotion to protect others. Now, therefore, I, Gina Sakala, Mayor of the Town of Enfield, on behalf of the Town Council, the Town Administration, and our entire community, do hereby recognize and honor Chief Earl Provencher for his extraordinary and dedicated service to the Town of Enfield over the past 50 years. This is for you. Would you like to say a few words, Chief?
Would I get in trouble? Just real quickly. Have you want to talk for me? So anyways, first of all, give me a little leeway because I didn't know this was happening until I read it in the agenda. One. And Mayor Emeritus Scott Copen just asked me back there, am I nervous? And I said I wasn't because I know you guys are all friends. But when I saw the crew that came in the back there, I said, well, now it's a little bit different. I really, it went like a flash, very, very fast, how fast 50 years went. I wouldn't do anything else. I love it. Very quickly, I need to just mention some of the folks that are here. My son Brian is in the back with his partner Jake. My son Matt took off for a call. Matt followed in my footsteps. He's a successful captain at Thompsonville Fire. Brian is actually left being a school psychologist to go into his own practice, and he's now in Springfield College taking his doctorate for psychology. Who? But anyways, I just wanted to say also, both products of Enfield school system and graduates of Enrico Fermi High School. Yes, and there's one more in that particular group. If anybody doesn't know Connie, in North Central Connecticut, they're not from around here. So my wife, who I just, 43 years have been married to her, so. It's been great. It really has. So that's, and then my in-laws, my daughter-in-law, nephews, nieces, my brother is in the back there. I got another brother somewhere hiding. I saw him here. My sister, oh, there he is sitting. My sister is watching from Florida live. That's kind of that family. I hope I should have said something or missing somebody. But again, my in-laws are all here, my extended family. And then there's my other family. And can we dub that out? So then there's my other family, and that's the rest of this crew that came in, plus the ones that left. And it's really not about me, it's about them. It's about all of the first responders in the town of Enfield that I get to take accolades for what they do every day. As you saw, they were here, off they go. Happens day in, day out. You know, just give me one break. These guys know that I do this, so they're sitting there smiling. But anyways, it's about them. It's not about me. That's my other family, and Connie's making them real good at keeping secrets. So I just really appreciate this. I wouldn't do anything else. Thank you very much, and congratulations as well to Pam. Very well deserved. Was this working?
Well, Earl, but there's more. And so we do have the privilege of having two state representatives serving here on the council. And so we have this citation to present to you on behalf of the entire state delegation. If you could hold this. There you go. Here. There we go. Thank you. And it says, in the General Assembly, official citation introduced by Representative John Santinella, Representative Carol Hall, and Senator John A. Kissel. Be it hereby known to all that the Connecticut General Assembly hereby offers its sincerest congratulations to Earl Provancher in recognition of 50 years of dedicated service to the North Thompsonville Fire Department, the district's first career firefighter. He began as a junior firefighter in 1976 and rose through the ranks to become the department's first chief in 1990. He also served as fire marshal and as a certified EMT, demonstrating decades of leadership, professionalism, and commitment to public service. The entire membership extends its very best wishes on this memorable occasion and expresses the hope for continued success. Given this 24th day of March 2026, the state capitol of Hartford, signed by Marty Looney, Matt Ritter, and Stephanie Thomas, the Secretary of State. So congratulations from all of us.
I think we've taken up enough your time here. You folks have worked with it.
We'd rather do this than budget. This is more fun. This is definitely more fun. Thank you. Congratulations. Well deserved.
Thank you, Erin. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you so much. This is so awesome.
As we allow our guests of honor a few minutes, I'm just going to read the public communications and petition rules, because that is item 8 on our agenda. So any Enfield resident or Enfield taxpayer who wishes to address the council shall first be recognized by the chair and shall state their name and address for the record. They shall limit their remarks to 5 minutes. After each person who desires to have a chance to speak, those desiring to speak a second time will be permitted to do so, and they will have 3 minutes. If we get to item 14 on the agenda, and if it's prior to 11 p.m., each person shall be again allowed to speak on public communications, and their remarks will be limited to 3 minutes. It will be limited to 1 hour unless extended by a majority vote of council. All remarks shall be addressed to the council as a whole and not to any individual member. All remarks addressed to the administration of the town shall be addressed to the town manager and not individual employees. Public members shall observe proper decorum and good conduct and shall refrain from personalities and improper language. So I have the sign-up sheet, and Lucian, you are on it, sir. So come on up.
Lucian Lefebvre, 54 Kimberly Drive, also Commander, American Legion Post 154.
David Alexander, 277 Pearl Street, member of American Legion Post 154.
Okay, Dave and I are here tonight to talk about American Legion Boys State. In the past, we were able to get into the schools to talk directly with the students, but programs have changed, the process has changed, so we don't have the opportunity to talk directly to the students. So I thought this was a good way to get it out to the general public, to come in here for public communications. So we're here to talk about our Boys State program this year, which runs June 27th through July 2nd. And it's available for a junior in high school. Going into their senior year. So it is held at the University of New Haven in West Haven, Connecticut. So the juniors go down there from across the state, participate in learning about government. And I'm going to let Dave talk a little bit about it. He's been to Boys State.
Sure, real quick, it's a week-long program administered by the American Legion Department of Connecticut, but it's nationwide. And the students, they're going into their senior year. It's a prestigious program where they actually form their own state government. They elect their own General Assembly with the Speaker of the House and Governor. They have two political parties, but it's not political in nature. It's more of the substance and form of starting a state government. When I went as a junior, I got appointed Chief State's Attorney. You get involved and get different positions. I would add, because it is interesting in that you finish your school year and you're going right into this. This isn't boring school. It's more like a summer camp. It's summer camp without maybe going outside and going on a canoe. They have rec time in the afternoon. They have fun. I knew students from across the state previously from being active in school, got to rekindle connections and friendships with them. They keep it light and lively. They have a speaker series. Usually the governor shows up, U.S. senators show up, but they keep it very light and fun. I would also say that when you're applying to colleges, this is a good check in the box, a good resume bullet. I know when I applied to colleges and interviewed for that, this was something when I mentioned the interview carried weight. Oh, wow, you took this upon yourself to do this program. You learn a lot with it. Boys State alum, Troy Aikman, Michael Jordan, half of the U.S. Chris Murphy did it. Bill O'Neill did it. He was governor of Connecticut. Joe Lieberman did it. So this is a very mainstream thing that we would trying to get students in Enfield involved in, trying to be on TV. If any parents are listening or students, you guys could talk it up. The application deadline is June 1st. And there's also Girls State the same week. That's at Eastern Connecticut State University at the same time. I used to help out with that when I was a state rep, organizing their house assembly. So that's it. Pretty basic requirements. You just have to have a physical on record. You do stay in the dorms. The meals are provided. We would sponsor a boy and a girl. If there's more interest, we could figure out another way to sponsor more students to attend. And it is a week-long program. Girls State runs the same time, June 27th to July 2nd at Eastern Connecticut. And it is chaperoned by American Legion members on the male side and American Legion auxiliary members on the girl side. On very well organized chaperones, hall monitors. I mean, you're not going to have any trouble or riffraff with any of that. Right. And it really is it's good for your resume, but it's good to interact with fellow students and learn about government. And final thing, they do select 2 students at Boys and Girls State to go to Boys Nation and Girls Nation in Washington, D.C. The membership that runs the program, the volunteers vote on that. That would be paid for. And former President Bill Clinton, that's how he met John F. Kennedy, was on a tour in the White House in the West Wing, because 2 students from Connecticut will get that opportunity later in the summer. So we've actually had one member real quick from Suffield, Ben Gee. Right. We sponsored him. He went to Boys Nation. So it is something that somebody could be watching this on television right now and all of a sudden think to do it, and next thing you know, that by the end of the summer, they're at Boys Nation or Girls Nation in Washington. So.
Okay, and with that, anybody that's interested can contact me at 860-463-7168, and anybody interested in Girls State can contact Pam at 860-463-2795. So with that, we look forward to hopefully getting a boy and a girl that are juniors going into their senior year interested in this. The cost is picked up by the American Legion Post or the auxiliary for the Girls State. So we look forward to hopefully getting some candidates interested in doing this and go from there. Do I still have a couple minutes?
Your time is up.
Time is up? Okay, I'll come back.
Come back a second time, since you're the only person on the list. Maybe you
Yeah.
can
Do you have
go now.
something? Do you have additional stuff that you wanted to talk about?
Yes,
Oh, feel free.
going to put my other hat on.
Right ahead.
Chairman of the Enfield Veterans Council. Our Memorial Day Parade is coming up on May 24th, Sunday, May 24th. We're hoping to have the flyover with the Chinooks, and hopefully have our resident pilot in one of the aircraft again, who was a Fermi graduate. Look forward to seeing people at the parade. Again, that's May 24th. Steps off at 1 o'clock. Ends at the town green here, and you all know, I always say the most important part is the ceremony at the green. The parade is just the icing on the cake. Thank you.
Thank you, Lucian. Thank you, David. That is all of the people who are on the list. Is there anyone in the audience additional who is not on the list that would like to speak? Anyone for the second or third time? All right. Public communications is closed. Item 9 on the agenda is Councilor Communications and Petitions. I'm going to start with Councilor Thomas. If you'd like to start, just unmute and you can go.
All right. Hello, everyone. Can you hear me? Can you guys hear me, or I don't know? Okay, perfect. I just wanted to say huge congratulations to Pam and Chief. Much deserved. And I wanted to wish everyone a happy Autism Acceptance Month. It is being changed from autism awareness to autism acceptance. The second thing I wanted to say was the Enfield High School Lamplighters is having their spring musical, Freaky Friday, this Friday and Saturday. Tickets are on sale now. Please go and support. And that's it. All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Councilor Thomas. Anyone else? Okay, we can just start with Councilor Ungar. Go ahead. Welcome back from vacation.
Thank you, Mayor. A couple things. I have some announcements of events that are coming up. Through Enfield Social Services, they're going to have a free event. It's called Beyond the Canvas, and it's open to all school-aged children between 6th and 12th grade. It's going to be at Alcorn on April 22nd at 3:30 to 5, and they're going to ask all the kids to make a vision board, and it's going to focus on self-expression, confidence building, and goal settings. Also, the Enfield High School is going to have their art festival, and this is one of my favorite events throughout the year. I love to see how creative all the students are and the things they come up with. And that's April 24th, 7 to 9 p.m., and April 25th, 12 noon to 3 p.m. Lastly, through Enfield Social Services, they're inviting grandparents raising grandchildren to an event on April 22nd at Alcorn School from 5 to 7. And that's also with the Enfield Police Department, and they're going to focus on safety tips tailored to caregivers and children, and they're going to have a question and answer session. Dinner and child care will be provided, and if you'd like more information, you can call Angelica at 860-253-5214. That's all I got. Thanks.
Thank you.
Wait, and congratulations to Pam and Earl. I think where would this community be without you two? You're just phenomenal. Thank you and congratulations.
Thank you. Councilor Allegro?
I just wanted to remind our residents that our Public Works Department is offering hazardous waste collection this weekend, this Saturday, from 8 until 1 p.m. at the complex on Moody Road. And it's just a great reason to start our spring cleaning. So, thank you.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor?
Okay, thank you. Through the mayor to the town manager, just out of curiosity, do you have any idea why Lucian isn't able to go and talk about this program at the school directly to students? I know that you're not the superintendent of schools, but it's a great program. It existed when I was a kid. I know people who have gone, they've gotten a lot out of it. I just don't think this is the best way for young people to find out about a program. I don't think our viewership of high school students is very high, but I could be wrong. I mean, is there something that we could do to get them some access or to the schools so that they could promote this more appropriately
I'll
to
talk
kids?
to the school superintendent in the morning.
Okay, that would be great. Next, the Enfield Food Shelf has some fundraising opportunities that are coming up. The Walk Against Hunger is April 25th. It is going to be happening here right in the park behind us. Those who are interested can get a team together, raise some funds. For more information, you can reach out to the Food Shelf and get more information on that. Also, the Enfield Police Explorers are going to be having their annual pig roast. It is going to be on June 20th from 12 to 8 at the Moose Lodge, where they always have it. Tickets are on sale now. You can reach out to the Enfield Police Explorers directly. They are $20, but this is a great cause to help these young people raise money who do a lot for our community. The next thing on my list is with springtime upon us, we did have an issue that came up in general government relating to water usage and deduct meters. If you have a swimming pool or a sprinkler system, keep in mind that that water, unless it's on a separate meter, is going to be calculated with your sewer bill. So if you can get a deduct meter to measure water that you're using to fill your swimming pool, if you have a sprinkler system, you should have a separate meter put in. Otherwise, you know, this has happened to me where I bought a house that had a sprinkler system. I had the nicest green lawn for the summer, and then I had a $900 sewer bill because all that water was tabulated in my sewer usage. So just be aware of that because it will make a difference with springtime when you get your sewer bill. And with springtime upon us, people start watering, and you should just be aware that you have to separate out that water. And then the last thing, I was here at Town Hall visiting Matt, and in the hallway on March 31st was former Councilor Doug Finger, who was looking very happy and good. And after, I think, 35 years of service to the town of Enfield and some time here on the council, he is retiring. And I just wanted to publicly just say to him, thank you for your service here on the council and to the town, and hope you really enjoy your retirement. So that's all I had today. Thank you.
Thank you. You guys have anything? You do? Okay. So we can go to Councilor Mangini and then Councilor Pisner.
Just a couple of announcements. This Thursday, April 9th at 10 a.m., we are having, let's say a dedication, but an unveiling of the Thomas Abbey statue and surroundings. DAR and the Abbey family has been working hard with Aaron, I might add, he's doing a super job representing the town, to unveil and show the work that's being done, to reface, if you will, the statue. And it's very appropriate being, America 250, that we honor, our ancestor. So that's happening. All are invited to come and just watch the actual work that's being done. April 25th, Mount Carmel is having their spring fling, and the purpose of the spring fling is to it's a fundraiser to raise money, and Mount Carmel does donate 2 scholarships and, of course, does a lot of community service. So everyone is invited to attend. There is a cost to the tickets, and also there are baskets that you can raffle, and it's a great event to get to see people you haven't seen, get to meet new people. So thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Pisner?
Now you are. I'm on now. Okay, thank you. Cindy, I was going to say something about Mount Carmel. I see you there every year. It's a great fundraiser. It's a wonderful luncheon that the ladies put on. It's a lot of fun. Pam, congratulations. Earl already left, but again, two wonderful people who make our community a better place. I did get an email earlier today. I read it right before I left regarding the porta potties, and this is to the mayor, to the town attorney. Are you going to say something on that later? Okay, thanks. And then the last thing, honestly, is just to once again invite people this Thursday at 6 o'clock to Hazardville. As you can see, we have a big budget in front of us, and I'm already getting phone calls and emails from residents. This will be your opportunity to come out and speak. We need your input when we start our deliberations. This is not going to be an easy budget. So please, 6 o'clock, Hazardville Memorial, come out and have your voices heard. Don't use Facebook as your forum. Come out and actually tell us what you want. So I would appreciate seeing a lot of people there on Thursday. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Hall?
Just a really quick congratulations to Pam and Earl. You both deserve so many accolades. It seems kind of small, but the citations and proclamations are the way we really show appreciation. So thank you so much for everything you do for our community. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Crissati and then Councilor Matthews.
Okay, thank you. First of all, congratulations, Pam, and to Earl. Well-deserved proclamations. You have a long list of accolades, so keep up that great work. The next thing that I'd like to mention is, because we've been getting a lot of feedback about the status of Powder Hollow. I just want to rest assure the public out there that all of the needs of the field are being met at this point in time. And so I know that there's been some posts that have been out there. I've addressed it with certain people. So really, we've had a heck of a winter. The field is coming into great shape. Everything's looking good, but it's going to take a little time before everything is fully completed. But I'm pretty happy with the way everything is going. And also, and I know that the assistant town manager will make a statement in regard to the porta potties. So I just wanted to give a quick update on that. One thing I also want to mention was yesterday was National Library Day, and you know we have should be very proud of our libraries, Central Library and Pearl Street libraries, for all the services that they have to offer. You know, whether it's, you know, making sure that everybody has their library cards, to activities and events, book clubs, meeting spaces, museum passes that you can get. Kids can go and rent out different types of instruments and art supplies. And it's very important. And I think a real big thing is this ebook delivery service that they have. And if you want to join Friends of the Library, go do it. And so I just wanted to give a shout out to our library that does a fantastic job. Also, I want to commend Mike Arnone, member of the Commission on Aging, for proposing the establishment of an advocacy person, whether it's going to be at the Enfield Senior Center, at DSS, at the Enfield Central Library. This initiative is designed to enhance the Commission on Aging's outreach and with our senior community. And they want to have a consistent person with office hours at all these locations. And it's a work in progress right now, but once again, some of their key objectives that Mike really is putting forth is community connections, promoting active participation among seniors, and ensuring equitable access for people with you know, disabilities or people who just can't get around. So stay tuned for more of that initiative. I know there was a couple of things that were mentioned earlier. Just to piggyback on one of them, I just did want to show everybody that there is a pool adjustment form. I've had a few people give me a call in regard to, their pool collapsed over the winter. Their above ground pool, and they didn't realize that their 15,000 gallons of water are also going to be charged through their sewer tax. But you can fill this out, and you just have to make sure that you record it, and you can get some sort of deduction on the cost, because people don't realize that you're getting charged through the sewer, but you're also getting charged with water on top of it. So you're getting a double whammy there. So I wanted to bring that to everybody's attention also. As you can see, I'm wearing the symbol, the puzzle piece for Autism Awareness Month, or as was stated earlier, Autism Acceptance Month. And this is something that I live with daily. I'm an active member of Autism Speaks. Living with this can be very easy. We make it look easy, but it's very difficult for all the families that are out there. And I've always been an advocate for change and to build inclusive community and create opportunities where everybody can thrive. And so this month of April, as I'm wearing blue, people say you look pretty springy today, but the reason why I'm wearing it is for autism, all right? I always have that spring to my step anyways, but but we're here to raise awareness and foster inclusion, and I will always be an advocate for children and with families who have to deal with this on a daily basis. So I just wanted to give everybody a shout out. Whether it's somebody in your family, relatives, friends, everybody is affected by this disability. And so here we are making light of this. But I do wear this with great pride, and being an active member of Autism Speaks. And that's all that I have at this point. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Crisati. Councilor Matthews.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I wanted to mention that Councilor Ungeier, Councilor Mangini, Councilor Zanoni, and myself had the opportunity to attend the annual National League of Cities Conference, which was wonderful. During this experience, we participated in a range of conferences and workshops, connected with mayors and councilors from across the country, and engaged in meaningful discussions about national issues that directly affect our communities here at home. We also took part in professional development opportunities focused on strengthening our advocacy and our skills, and were given the valuable opportunity to advocate on behalf of our individual communities on Capitol Hill. I'll be putting together an informational presentation to share key takeaways and insights with any interested parties. I would also like to thank Councilor Thomas and Councilor Crisati for highlighting Autism Acceptance Month. It is also Volunteer Appreciation Month. And I would like to extend my gratitude to all of the incredible volunteers who support our nonprofits. Your time, compassion, and commitment are the quiet engine behind everything that we do, and our community is stronger for all of our volunteers. I especially want to thank the volunteers that make up Enfield Loaves and Fishes, Opera House Players, the 4th of July Committee, and every single one of my counselors up here on this dais who spend so much time away from their families and, fun things that they would like to do in order to serve our community. You guys are excellent stewards of your communities, and I thank you, and I am proud to sit among every one of you. And that's it.
Thank you, Councilor Matthews. I just have a couple of items. Again, I believe Councilor Pisner indicated, and we talked about at the special meeting, community conversations at Hazardville Memorial School on Thursday at 6 p.m. We invite and encourage people to come and sort of have this informal conversation regarding the budget. The budget presentation occurred at a special meeting today at 6:15, so if you're joining in just for the regular town meeting, you can watch it on YouTube and ETV, and the information and packet and presentation will be available on the town's website. The bathrooms for the fields will be discussed in the town manager's report, and I know this town has been devastated with the recent tragedy and passing of a 12-year-old little girl. And I know that there has been a lot of chatter and concern among citizens, and I am going to read a statement from the chief that he provided to the town council, and this is with permission. It is just a timeline, so hopefully it will clarify or help clarify some things. Again, this is from the chief, and I am sharing this with permission. As you may be aware, some have been concerned or critical that Anthony Federline continued to be employed by Smith Bus during the pendency of an ongoing investigation of the events that occurred on Elm Street. So here is a provided timeline. Federline was first identified as a sexual assault suspect when his DNA was confirmed by the lab late on Thursday afternoon of last week, which was April 2nd. Until that point, he was not a suspect. He was only one of multiple males living in the home, and we did not even have confirmation that the victim had been sexually assaulted by anyone, never mind a male from that home, at that point. After this information was obtained, detectives immediately went to work on the arrest warrant, walking it through with the prosecutor and the judge for approval on Thursday evening, which was April 2nd. Staying beyond their shifts to get the required warrant, Federline was arrested late Thursday evening. Immediately after it was obtained, I, which is the chief, informed the superintendent and assistant superintendent after the arrest. Furthermore, as you all know, that there was no school on Good Friday, which was April 3rd. They then undertook the notification of these events to Smith Bus. The public and press were briefed on all of this on Friday morning, and Federline was terminated by Smith Bus on that Friday the following day. So that was April 3rd. In summary, the process could not have possibly happened quicker or any more efficient than it did. And that is sort of hopefully helpful to some to clarify some of that timeline. I know, and with good reason, people are concerned, rattled, and that was just what I wanted to say about that. So I think that is all for Councilor Communication. So item 10 is Town Manager Report.
Good evening. Thank you. Thank you. You know, you're all learning. That's good. I have a few items before we get to that bathroom issue. First off, the town has issued a request for qualifications for real estate services. As council may be aware, from time to time we do go out and try to get professionals to help us with sales of real estate that we come by or possibly owned. Sealed responses are due by 11 a.m. Thursday, April 16th to the Director of Finance. Another item that I wanted to bring to your attention is the Neighborhood Assistance Act. The Connecticut Department of Revenue Services announced the 2026 Neighborhood Assistance Act tax credit program. This program allows businesses to earn state tax credits by contributing funds to municipally approved projects run by local nonprofits. These projects must address community needs such as energy conservation, job training, crime prevention, etc., while giving businesses a financial incentive to invest locally. Enfield nonprofits are encouraged to contact the Office of Economic and Community Development or review NAA information on their webpage located on the town website to confirm project eligibility and submission guidelines. Nonprofit project submissions are due by 5 p.m. Friday, May 15th. A public hearing will follow in early June for any public comments and will conclude with a vote by town council before staff formally submits the recommended projects to the Connecticut Department of Revenue Services. Another item requested to bring to your attention is the launch of the Enfield Restaurant Week, which is going to be October 4th through the 11th, 2026. The Enfield Economic Development Commission is pleased to announce Enfield Restaurant Week, a community-wide initiative designed to spotlight Enfield's dining scene, support local restaurants, and encourage restaurants and visitors to explore new and familiar eateries through the town, to be held from October 4th through the 11th, 2026. And there will be more of a press release out about that very shortly, if not already. Any questions, you can go to Aaron Markovich, Director of Economic and Community Development, either to his email or calling the department directly. Not done yet. There are a number of America 250 programs going on over the next couple months. Wanted to bring those out. There was some discussion already, or announcement about the Thomas Abbey Restoration Kickoff, which is going to happen April 9th at 10 a.m. On April 25th at 11 a.m. is the Edwards Monument rededication. There's going to be a number of potential speakers there, and of course, council as well as the public are invited to that. On May 19th at 5:30 p.m. is the banner dedication, which will be held here, I believe, at the band shell, and they will be doing a number of different things during that event, but primarily that is going to be on the dedication of the veteran banners that I think first started here with council giving their blessing and running through the Rotary Department, Rotary organization. And there's other events ongoing that will be posted. We'll be talking in a few minutes about giving some additional funding to the America 250 celebration, and look forward to that conversation. Pickleball courts. I don't know, I sent out to everyone the pictures of the new pickleball courts at the annex. I'm told that when the weather is good already, they've been filled. We're hopefully going to have a grand opening dedication of those sometime in the very near future, but there definitely has been a soft opening and a lot of participation already at those courts. Positive side. Negative side at the annex is the annex track. Unfortunately, Public Works Director feels that because it has not been maintained, we are going to need to shut that down for use. I think that's probably going to happen in the next week or so. We are putting together a plan that will actually keep the track open, but minus the rubberized top on it. And while it wouldn't be used for actual track meets or things like that, it can still be used for walking for the public. And so, again, the Public Works Director is going to be providing to me a plan with that. I'll get that to you to let you know what that is. Most likely we'll be able to do most of that in-house. So there shouldn't be a large cost to getting that reopened. But I don't know if anybody has had an opportunity to walk that track in the last few weeks. But we were starting to get concerned before winter, and I think over winter it just got to the point now where it can't be maintained. They did try to get the materials to patch it, but the company that sells that saw what we'd be patching and refused to sell us the materials, because there really is nothing out there for it to hold on to anyways. The other piece of that bad news is we're also going to be doing the annual testing of the synthetic turf there at at the annex, and we're not confident it's going to pass that test. And that test is probably the one that our insurance company will be most interested in, and so we may be coming back to you with that bad news after the test sometime later this month. Restroom facilities at Phil's. I'm going to turn that over to Steve, who's been on that here the last day.
All right, so I don't know how or when I got assigned latrine duty here, but suffice it to say, the town attorney and the director of public works last Tuesday, March 31st, we went out there and we audited a lot of baseball fields for not just latrines, but also for handicap accessibility. While we're out there, I met with the deputy director and we instructed him to order more handicap accessible restrooms for the Brainerd Park, Powder Hollow, all the fields. I have an email in writing that says they should have been delivered already, but they weren't. We were at the mercy of our vendor, who we have we contracted out with, and I can't just, on a moment's notice, just go to someone else because this is who we did the RFP with. I believe they'll be here tomorrow, but we are at their mercy because they have multiple clients, multiple municipalities with multiple locations within that municipality, and they have to distribute them all day, every day from here on out. This is their busy season. So they should have been installed. I apologize they're not installed, but I had every reason to believe they would have been installed, but hopefully they're installed tomorrow. So thank you for your patience.
Anything else on the town manager report?
Nope. Is there any questions?
Yeah, I think
Did you have a question, Councilor Hall? Okay.
Thank you. So a couple things in regards to the bathrooms, Steve. Can we just, and I know Gina, it's Gina and my little pet peeve, can we make sure that the bathrooms are the hard bathrooms, not the porta potties, but the Enfield High regular bathrooms are opened up for games? Because we went through this all last year where they were always locked up and we had one or two porta potties like leaning against the bathrooms. It made no sense. So if we can just make sure that the Enfield High bathrooms are unlocked for games, that would be great. And then on a separate note, through the town manager, through the mayor to the town manager, now that the plants, the road pavement plants are opening up, can we maybe get an update on road repairs and what's slated for the spring and summer and fall for road replacements and road repairs? Because I know people are already emailing and calling about their roads and things like that. So maybe on, an upcoming agenda, we can have a presentation from Public Works or something. Thank you. That's it. Thank you.
Councilor Zanoni?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Through the mayor, for the RFQ for the realtor, it just kind of struck my mind. Is it possible if we can get an Excel sheet of all of the town-owned properties and their uses? Because I think I've mentioned wanting that before, but I don't know if I've actually requested it. Is that something you can get available to me?
Yep.
Thank you. That's all.
Thank you. Okay, item 11, town attorney report.
Nothing to report.
Thank you. Item 12, report of special committees of the council. Councilor Thomas, I know you indicated you had one. If you wanted to go first.
Yeah. I didn't need to go first, but I can. The Enfield Community Chorus will be performing a special spring concert Saturday, May 2nd at 3 p.m. at Enfield High School. Our Stars, Stripes, and Song concert celebrates both 50 years as a chorus as well as America's 250 anniversary, and that's coming out of the Enfield Culture and Arts Subcommittee. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other reports of special committees? All right, moving on. Unfinished business, number 13, there is none. Item 14, new business. 14A, the consent agenda. There are 4 items on there. Resolution to transfer funds for the Juvenile Review Board grant. Request to appropriate additional funds for the Uniform Relocation Act. Resolution authorizing the town manager to submit and sign a grant application. And authorize the town manager to sign historic document preservation grant. So if there are no issues, I will just get a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Made and seconded. All right, all in favor of the consent agenda? All right, it is 11 in favor, none against. Thank you. 14B, appointments. One is the Enfield Beautification Committee. A vacancy exists for a member, and the recommendation is Karen Prague. If I can get a motion to approve or a motion to nominate?
Second.
All right, motion made and seconded.
Motion to close nominations.
Motion made
Second.
and seconded to
Second.
close nominations. And any discussion? Oh, I'm sorry, all in favor of closing nominations? 11 in favor, none against. Any discussion? All right, sensing none, all in favor of Karen Prague? 11 in favor, none against. Item C, resolution to appropriate funds to assist the America 250 celebrations in the amount of $15,000. Be it resolved that in accordance with Chapter 6, Section 8F of the Town Charter, the following transfer is hereby made: from general fund, non-departmental charges, transfer out in contingencies in the amount of $15,000 to economic and community development, miscellaneous expenditures of $15,000, date prepared 3/31/26 by John Wilcox.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. In our little packet, we do have a little bit of a breakdown on what that is. I don't know if anyone has specific questions, if we want to bring Aaron, just in case somebody does have questions and we can't answer them. Go ahead, Counselor Pisner.
Hi, Erin, nice to see you. So I guess I just had one question on this, and because the next one is for, is my mic on now?
It is. Yep.
Okay, thank you. So I'm looking at the next one, so I'm probably jumping the gun, and that's also for the 250. I guess my question would be, why aren't we combining them? Why aren't we just doing one?
Those are actually two different requests coming. So one is from the 4th of July committee. Where
Okay.
this one is for the America 250.
Okay, all right, so that explains that. And then the tent that you're going to have is just going to be specific to Enfield's history, or
The 250 tent, we're pretty excited about. So if I can go back just an extra moment, the original plan was, hey, we're going to get some reenactors. We're going to have battle or something. They're all going to be in Vermont, Hubbardstown, Vermont. There's a massive reenactment, and they've been booked for 3 years on that. So reenacting world is a fascinating and unique world that I've gotten to know very well, for good or for bad, I guess. We're working right now with a tag teacher at the middle school who is a reenactor, and he may have a few people who can come. So we had to pivot. We had to figure out a different way to kind of tackle this. And so the concept is to have a very large tent at the 4th of July that will have Enfield Historical Society, the 250 Commission, our exhibit, the DAR, and then maybe some other groups like Old Sturbridge Village is interested in coming. We're talking to East Windsor Historical, Suffield Historical. So we're looking to kind of have a regional type of draw. We're looking at probably having some sort of a musical group. And because it's 2 days, a lot of these museums, they can only come for 1 day. They only have volunteers for X, Y, or Z. So we'll have different people on each day. So if you come 1 day, you'll get to see a different group the next day. So it sort of drives a reason to come for both of those days. Other things that we're going to be doing that day, we'll we'll probably have already unveiled our essay contest winners, but we may have them recognized. We're going to do several different things, but this particular tent is going to be large and rimmed with activities and programs, especially for kids, but really focused on 250. Mm-hmm.
that's it.
I can only tell by the distance, yes.
The sun.
Yes.
The sun.
Any other questions? Counselor Zanoni?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just one, because you noted the neighboring towns. Have you spoken to the first selectmen of those communities to see if they wanted to contribute towards the overall cost? I'm happy to approve it as it is, but just...
I haven't gotten into that particular way of thinking, mostly because these are generally the small nonprofit historical societies. That's where we're kind of coming from, is, the equivalent to the Enfield Historical Society.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, sensing no more questions and concerns, roll call, please.
Counselor Ungary? 4. Counselor Zenoni?
4.
Counselor Allegro?
4.
Mayor Sakala?
4.
Counselor Crisati?
4.
Counselor Hall?
4.
Counselor Mangini?
4.
Counselor Matthews?
Abstain.
Counselor Pisner?
4.
Deputy Mayor Santinella?
4.
And Counselor Thomas?
4.
10 members in favor, none against, 1 abstention.
Thank you. I wouldn't go anywhere just yet, Aaron. I mean, you can, but you might as well just stay there, just in case. Item 14D on the agenda is a resolution to transfer funds for America 250 fireworks in the amount of $10,000. And be it resolved that in accordance with Chapter 6, Section 8F of the Town Charter, the following transfer is hereby made from general funds, non-departmental charges, transfers out in contingencies, the amount of $10,000 to general fund, non-town agencies, celebrations, and special events in the amount of $10,000. Date prepared 4/1/2026 by John Wilcox.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any questions?
And so my understanding is that the 4th of July committee would like to do even larger fireworks for the upcoming celebration and requested additional, or actually funds from the town in the amount of $10,000 to put towards the fireworks.
Thank you. Any questions, or Councilor Mangini?
I just wanted to comment. I am one of the liaisons to the committee. I attended the meeting Sunday evening, the last one, and in fact, I wasn't aware that the cost has grown quite high, and in order to have a sufficient and beautiful fireworks display, we do need to step it up a little bit, and I'm just hoping that this amount will suffice. But that's what I'm told, that would be sufficient. So I'm definitely going to support this. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Matthews?
Thank you. I just wanted to quickly clarify that I would have to abstain from the last motion and for this one because I am on both the America 250 and the 4th of July committees.
Thank you. Any additional comments? Sensing none, roll call, please.
Counselor Ungary?
4.
Counselor Zenoni?
4.
Counselor Allegro?
4.
Mayor Sakala?
4.
Counselor Crisati?
4.
Counselor Hall?
4.
Counselor Mangini?
4.
Counselor Matthews?
Abstain.
Counselor Pisner?
4.
Deputy Mayor Santinella?
4.
And Counselor Thomas?
4.
10 in favor, none against, 1 abstention.
You don't have to abstain unless you're receiving funds.
You're fine, yeah. All right, thank you. Item 14E, resolution to abate motor vehicle taxes for 44 Marion Place. Be it resolved that the Enfield Town Council, per Connecticut General Statute, Section 12-124, does hereby abate the interest and fees due on the 2022 Ford Bronco owned by Annalise Pop at 44 Marion Place, date prepared 3/2026 by John Wilcox, Director of Finance.
So moved.
Motion made
Second.
and seconded. This came out of General Government and Finance. This was an individual, a couple who came with some financial hardships, and I think it was unanimous out of the subcommittee that we bring it forward in this manner to the council. Anything I miss? No. Councilor Hall, anything I missed? No? Okay. Any questions? Comments? Sensing none, roll call, please.
Counselor Ungary?
4.
Counselor Zenoni?
4.
Counselor Allegro?
4.
Mayor Sakala?
4.
Counselor Crisati?
4.
Counselor Hall?
4.
Counselor Mangini?
4.
Counselor Matthews?
4.
Counselor Pisner?
4.
Deputy Mayor Santinella?
4.
And Counselor Thomas?
4.
11 in favor, none against.
Item 14F on the agenda, resolution authorizing the town manager to sign a lease agreement with Collins Powder Hill Farm, LLC. Be it resolved that the town manager is empowered to enter into the attached lease agreement in the name and on the behalf of the town of Enfield with Collins Powder Hill Farm, LLC, date prepared 3/5/2026 by the town manager's office.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Matt, did you want to just, this is something we do every year.
Every year, yeah.
It's really
Get
same thing we do
$1,100.
every year. Yeah. Any comments or questions on this? No? All right, sensing none, roll call, please.
Counselor Ungary. 4. Counselor Zanoni.
Abstain.
Counselor Allegro.
4.
Mayor Sakala.
4.
Counselor Crisati.
4.
Counselor Hall.
4.
Counselor Mangini.
4.
Counselor Matthews.
4.
Counselor Pisner.
4.
Deputy Mayor Santinella.
4.
And Counselor Thomas.
4.
10 members in favor, none against, 1 abstention.
Item 14G on the agenda, the request for transfer of funds to the town attorney's legal account of $30,000. Be it resolved that in accordance with Chapter 6, Section 8F of the Town Charter, the following transfer is hereby made from town attorney salaries in the amount of $30,000 to town attorney legal in the amount of $30,000. Date prepared 3/24/2026 by the Office of the Town Attorney.
So moved.
First and seconded. There is a summary on what we have and in the packet for people on what this is for. Is there any questions or comments? Sensing none, roll call, please.
Counselor Ungary.
4.
Counselor Zanoni.
4.
Counselor Allegro.
4.
Mayor Sakala.
4.
Counselor Crisati.
4.
Counselor Hall.
4.
Counselor Mangini.
4.
Counselor Matthews.
4.
Counselor Pisner.
4.
Deputy Mayor Santinella.
4.
And Counselor Thomas.
4.
11 in favor, none against.
Item 14H, resolution regarding setting the public hearing for the 2026-2027 budget. Whereas the Town Council of the Town of Enfield values the opinions and comments of its constituents, and whereas in accordance with Chapter 6, Section 4 of the Enfield Town Charter, any elector or taxpayer may have the opportunity to be heard regarding appropriations for the ensuing fiscal year and for the purposes of being heard on issues of vital community importance and concern. And whereas the Enfield Town Council shall conduct a public hearing in the council chambers, Town Hall, 820 Enfield Street, on April 22nd, 2026, at 7 p.m. Be it resolved that the order of business of the, it should read 26-27, so I'll need a friendly amendment in a minute, but it says 25 to 26 budget hearing, be arranged as follows. Number 1, the presentation of the town manager's budget. 2, superintendent of schools highlight of the Board of Education budget. 3, comments from members of the public for the first time. Be it further resolved that each speaker is requested to register with the town clerk their name and address on the sign-up sheet provided, and that no speaker may be allowed to speak more than 5 minutes each successive time the speaker's name is called. Additionally, anyone who is not registered with the town clerk will be allowed to speak only after those who have registered no longer wish to speak. Date prepared 2/25/2026 by the town manager's office.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Can I get a friendly amendment to change 25 to 26 to 26 to 27, please?
Amendment to change the 25, 26 to 26, 27.
Thank you. Any discussion on the amendment? All in favor of the amendment? 11 in favor and none against. Any discussion on the motion or the resolution as amended? Sensing none, roll call, please.
Counselor Ungary.
4.
Counselor Zanoni.
4.
Counselor Allegro.
4.
Mayor Sakala.
4.
Counselor Crisati.
4.
Counselor Hall.
4.
Counselor Mangini.
4.
Counselor Matthews.
4.
Counselor Pisner.
4.
Deputy Mayor Santinella.
4.
And Counselor Thomas.
4.
11 members in favor, none against.
Item 15 on the agenda is items for discussion. There is none. 16, any other business proper to come before said meeting? There is none. 17 is public communication. There are none. 18 is counselor communications. Anyone have anything? All right, we're a quiet bunch tonight. 19, adjournment. Can I get, Counselor Thomas, can I get a motion to adjourn? Motion made and seconded. All in favor? 11 in favor, none against. Thank you. Have a great night.